Hello learners, I'm Parikshit and welcome to a very exciting session on Unacademy Catalyst. In today's session, I'm going to take you through the decision making section of the XAT. Remember, decision making is one of the most important sections in the XAT. And since the XAT paper is really tough, the quants and the verbal sections are really tough, decision making could be one area where you can really score high. In today's class, I'm going to take you through some previous year's XAT decision making questions and some previous year's XAT mock decision making questions. I'm going to run you through the logic, right? The do's and the don'ts, the logic, the broad logic that is essential to ensure that you think in the right way. Remember, answers are not important in your practice session. What is important is the thought process. And in today's session, I'm going to stress on the thought process, the logical way of thinking, so as to ensure over 90% accuracy in the decision making section of the XAT, so that you score really high and clear the cutoffs in the upcoming XAT entrance examination. Let's get started. A very exciting session lined up for today. So this is me, Parikshit Saikia, your educator on Unacademy with amongst the highest live class rating. Thanks to my learners. New batches are starting on Unacademy in the next few days. We have batches starting for CAT 2022, OMAT 2022, and for SNAP. If you are interested to enroll for any of these batches, remember you got to subscribe to the Unacademy Plus plan. And we need some discounts. Do remember to use the code which is there on your screen, Parikshit Live. If you use this code, you will get maximum discounts and also you will get free mentorship from my side. Yeah, you heard it absolutely correct. Free mentorship is available only and only on the code Parikshit Live from my side, and free mentorship will be till your entrance examination. Let's get started with today's very exciting session. Let's pull up the questions on the screen. Okay, the first set of questions has been picked up from a past year's XAT paper. This is one of the brilliant questions that has come in the previous year's XAT papers, and we would try to solve it together. Let's read the caselet together. Okay. A university coach was asked to select teams in three sports: shooting, cricket only batsmen, and snakes and leather. So there are three games: shooting, cricket, and snakes and leather. The honest and keen observer head boy of the school informed the coach that he had observed 100 students playing the three games: shooting, cricket, and snakes and ladders. So there were a total of 100 students, and 100 students played shooting, 100 students played shooting, cricket, and snakes and leather. So how did it happen? How did the play happen? In shooting, all students were given 100 chances to hit a target. Fine. 100 chances. So one student is hitting 100 times. One student is hitting 100 times a specific target. In cricket, a batsman faced a maximum of 100 balls provided he did not get out. Did not get out. That's what is cricket, okay? You can face a maximum of 100 balls if you don't get out. If you get out, let's say on the first ball, you are out of the tournament. You are no longer considered. If you don't get out, you will get to play maximum 100 balls. In snakes and ladders, every student could play 100 matches, one each with the other students and one against a computer. So snakes and ladder also, every student play 100 matches. So what is important is, in all the three games, you are given 100 opportunities. Shooting, you get a chance. Every student is getting a chance. How many times? 100 times. Cricket, you don't get out. If you don't get out, you can play 100 balls. What about snakes and ladders? Every student gets 100 chances. In other words, 100 matches. Okay. In shooting, a player got 1 point for hitting the target and 0 point for missing the target. So this is how the scoring is happening. In cricket, a batsman got 1 point for hitting the ball and 0 point for missing it. So basically, we are talking about the scoring criteria. In snakes and leather, a person got 1 point for winning the game and 0 for losing. So the scoring criteria is given for each of the three games. To the coach's utter surprise, the distribution of points across all three games was the same. It was as follows. Distribution across all three games was the same. What does it mean? If you look at cricket, how many students got between 0 and 9 points? One student. In shooting, how many students got between 0 and 9 points? One student. In snakes and leather, how many students got between 0 and 9 points? One student. Similarly, any other distribution. Let's say in cricket, how many students scored between 30 and 39? 15 students. In shooting, how many students scored between 30 and 39? Again, 15 students. In snakes and leather, how many students scored between 30 and 39? 15. So that's what they say. The distribution of points across all the three games was exactly the same. Follow? Now, I hope you understand the instructions, you understand the paragraph, and you are able to understand the table beneath the paragraph. Clear? If that is the case, I think we can go to the questions. These are all past year XAT paper questions. Let's look at the first question. Which of the following options is the best way to select the snakes and leather team? Snakes and leather team. So you want to select, let's say you are a university coach, you want to select students for the snakes and leather team. So what should you follow? Option A. The coach must select all students between 80 and 99. Remember, 80 and 99 is the highest score possible. So the coach should select all students between 80 and 99 is option 1. Option 2, coach must select both the students between 90 and 99. So they are saying you should select two students. Who are the two? The toppers, the winners in the game of snakes and leather. So number of students who scored between 90 and 99 were two students. You should select both of them. Third, the coach must select minimum 6 students between 40 and 59. Okay, 40 and 59. Minimum 6 students you should select. D, coach must not select students between 0 and 9. So whoever is at the bottom in a game of snakes and leather, you are the very last. You should not be selected. And the last one, the coach can ignore the data in the table and randomly pick any 11 players. You randomly pick. You don't even consider the data in the table. Now remember, you are an MBA aspirant, a budding manager who is going to apply logic here. You're not going to tick something, okay, which appears probably the English is good, the line is good, and suddenly you feel this should be the answer. No. When you think something is the answer, do think about the reason behind this. Which is this game? This game is called the game of snakes and leather. This game is called the game of snakes and leather. Is this game, let's call it SLL, is this game based on luck or is it based on skill? It's a very simple question that every manager would ask. Is this game based on luck or skill? Remember, the game of snakes and leather is considered to be a game of luck and not a game of skill. And because it is not a game of skill, you should not be applying any mathematical tools or any mathematical distribution or any data to pick up the best players. You don't have to pick up someone who is at 90 or 99, right? Someone who is at the topper, someone who is the topper. Does it show that he has a lot of skills? No. It only shows luck favored him in that game. It only shows luck favored him in that game. So in a game like snakes and leather, as a manager, you are not going to look at data. You can randomly pick up any 11 players because this is just a game of luck. Answer is option E. Answer is option E. So someone who is not well prepared might just go through the options, might be thinking I should be selecting the toppers or I must never be selecting the losers. But that's not the case. This is a game of luck. You can select any player. You can in fact ignore the data in the table. Correct answer is option E. Correct answer is option E. I hope you understand this. I hope you understand this. Correct? Fine. Question 1 is done. Question 2. Which of the following options is the best way of selecting the shooting team? Again, now next game is the game of shooting. Next game is the game of shooting. Ask yourself, is it a game of luck or is it a game of skill? Is it a game of luck or is it a game of skill? I'm sure that I don't have to give you any explanation on this, but this is definitely a game of skill. People who go and participate in the shooting competition in the Olympics practice for years and decades together So this is a skill which you acquire over a period of time, which could run into decades or several years. So this is definitely a game of skill. When it is a game of skill, you definitely got to select the best ones. You have to look at past data, and past data would demonstrate which one is the best. Correct? So probably you'd want to select someone in the range of 90 to 99 or 80 to 89. Let's look at the options. Coach should select all students in 80 to 99 range. Okay, could be an answer. Could be an answer. Second one, coach should select both students in 90 to 99 range. Very good answer. Others can be from any of the other ranges. Absolutely wrong. Why is option B wrong? Option B is wrong because the first part of option B is absolutely correct. You got to select the toppers. But what is it saying after the colon? After the colon, the statement makes a nonsense statement. What is the nonsense statement? Others can be of any other range. That can definitely not happen, right? You will not be able to select anyone just like that. So B can never be an answer because second part of the statement is incorrect. C, the coach should select minimum 6 students between 40 and 49. Why will you go in the middle when you have the toppers available for selection? C, not the answer. D, 40 and 89. No, why would you select someone at 40? You'll always select the toppers. D can never be an answer. E, randomly pick up in 11 players. No, you will not do that as well. So the best answer is select the top two range. Someone might be asking, why not only 90 and 99? Remember, you got to select many players. In 90 and 99, there are only two players. And if you want to select 11 players, you got to select the top two ranges. Answer is option A. Answer is option A. Got that? I think this was a very nice question. A simple question based on the concept of luck or skill. If you can identify that, you get 6 marks. Both questions will be correct. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Let's look at the next set. Let's look at the next set. Number 3. Point number 3. Okay. Question number 3. Let's read the set together. Okay. A college campus with a population of around 2000, of which 200 were children. Okay, 1200. So out of the 2000, 200 were children, 1200 were between 15 and 45 years, 500 were between 45 and 65, and around 100 people more than 65 years of age. So the first line only gives the distribution of ages out of the 2000 people who belong to which category when it comes to the age. Next, the campus has two big gates opening out to the city. Okay, so I hope you are able to imagine the campus must be a beautiful campus. There are 400 cars and 500 motorbikes inside the campus. The residents relied on these vehicles to visit the city located 10 kilometers away. So what is happening? There are two gates and there are a lot of cars and motorbikes. There are approximately 900, so almost I can say 1,000 cars and motorbikes inside the campus, and is a necessity as per the paragraph. What does it say? Residents relied on these vehicles to visit the city located some kilometers away. Now, with land within the campus becoming scarce, the chief administrator found the growing demand for parking lot difficult to handle. So now land is becoming scarce. Why? Probably new infrastructure is being constructed and the property of the land is limited, right? So new infrastructure is getting constructed. So obviously open space is becoming a constraint. Okay. So obviously the chief administrator is facing a lot of difficulties to handle the traffic and the parking. The faculty, staff, and students wanted increased parking space. So people are wanting increased parking space. In the past 6 years, the parking requirement on campus had doubled. The requirement is doubling, but the problem is there is no parking space. The chief administrator found it inappropriate to construct parking lots from the student space, even those with vehicles, even though those with vehicles may not complain about it. Also, you need money to construct parking lots. The chief administrator does not find it very appropriate that you should charge extra fees to the students to construct parking lots. Besides creating parking problems, the chief administrator felt that these vehicles added to the pollution and made residents less responsible towards each other. I hope you are able to identify the problems. What is the first problem? The first problem is increased demand for parking is creating one. First problem is difficult to handle. Parking is becoming difficult to handle. That's the first problem. Second problem is it added to the pollution, adds to the pollution. Third problem is increased vehicles are making residents less responsible towards each other. Probably you don't drive in a responsible manner. The risk to the children and the elderly because of overspeeding was menacing. Menacing means high. So there was a risk to children and the elderly. Are you able to identify the problems? Problems because of the huge traffic. A, parking lot difficult to manage. B, pollution. C, people residents becoming less responsible. And D, children and elderly. There is a risk that they may be hit. Therefore, the chief administrator wanted to reduce the number of vehicles in the campus. Many faculty members, students, and staff members, however, felt that the demand for more parking space was natural as vehicles were required to go to the market, railway station, airport, and interstate bus terminal, all located in the city. You read paragraphs, right? I think you should be able to appreciate that we are looking at two sides of the coin. First side talked about the problems because of increased vehicle. Second, it's saying that you know what? Vehicles are a necessity. Why? Because people need it to go to the different places like the market, railway station, airport, etc. They also told the chief administrator that the elderly, sick, and the toddlers relied only on these vehicles. So there are other people who cannot walk, like the elderly, sick, and the young kids. So they also rely only on these vehicles. After listening to all stakeholders, the CA wanted to solve these problems while ensuring the campus remained responsible and green. Now, before I read the solution, before I look at the question, you know what? You should ideally be thinking, what could be an answer? What could be an answer? Remember, there are points both for and against. There are both points both for and against. For and against of what? Increase in the number of vehicles. As a manager, okay, what are you supposed to do? You are gonna supposed to take a middle approach, an approach which will pacify, okay, which will pacify and which will satisfy all the stakeholders involved. You do not want to antagonize any of the stakeholders, because of which you would want a middle approach. Remember, they say they want to solve all these problems, but also ensure that the campus remain responsible and green. So, somewhat a middle approach. So before you read, why do I say so? Because if you read the solution, the problem is you start following the author. You start following the paper setup. Whatever he wants, right? If he wants to put you in a trap, you will fall in the trap. But before you actually read the options, if you think about it yourself, you know what? You already have some answer in mind. And now when you look at the options, you know that which option is nearest to what you already think. There's a difference. First one, you read and then you start thinking. Second one, you already have something in mind and then you are looking for, oh, you know what? Let's see if the author has some option which matches to what I'm saying. Correct? So let's read it. Which of the following options would best satisfy all stakeholders? All. So all stakeholders means you got to satisfy everyone. First one, levy extra fee on students to construct additional parking lots inside the campus. Students should pay for the campus. Think about it. All stakeholders, out of all the stakeholders, the elderly, the young, the professors, the teachers, the students, you are putting the onus on only one stakeholder, who are the students. So you cannot make the students happy if you say that I have a parking problem and let us charge extra fee to the student so that the problem is solved. No. Why? You are putting extra burden on only one set of stakeholders, which is not allowed. Remember, you want to make everyone happy. So putting the burden only on one is not going to solve the problem. A cannot be an answer. B, okay, B, we'll check B. We'll check B. Let's see. Bring all stakeholders to the discussion table. All stakeholders to the discussion table. Remember, you want to satisfy all stakeholders. Satisfy. Will all stakeholders be satisfied just by calling a meeting of the stakeholders? I don't think so. That will never be an answer, right? Just an immediate solution. Probably you are wanting a meeting. That's not what the question is asking. You want to satisfy all stakeholders. Calling a meeting will definitely not satisfy every stakeholder. Remember, outcome of the meeting is what you need to provide, right? C cannot be an answer. D, to reduce carbon footprints, only pool vehicles to be allowed to operate inside the campus. Again, this is again incorrect. Why incorrect? Because it talks about, you know what? It talks about pollution. It talks about pollution. Increased vehicles are causing pollution, while option D only talks about a specific category of pollution, which is increased carbon footprints. No, when we talk about pollution, we talk about pollution in general, probably because of increased vehicles. There are less trees around. You have to, let's say there is deforestation, probably you have to clear the trees. There are a lot of issues. But pollution does not mean only carbon footprints. Option D is very, very specific. It talks only about carbon footprints, while you know what, there were other problems as well. Problems of what? Overspeeding. Can pool vehicles be overspeeding? Absolutely. Can residents still be less responsible? Absolutely. So D is not my answer. E. Charge significant fee from any vehicle entering or leaving the campus. Again, this doesn't solve the problem, because again, you are antagonizing one set of stakeholders. Who? Which set? Anyone who is a vehicle. So anyone who is a vehicle, you are making them, you are just putting the onus on them. No, that's not the case, right? You want every stakeholder to be satisfied. E is not an answer. Answer is B. Why? Let all vehicles be parked in a college managed space outside the campus, while two battery operated vehicles can handle emergencies. Emergencies is nothing but emergencies inside the campus. It takes care of everything. When you talk about battery operated, it takes care of pollution. When you talk about two battery operated operating inside the campus, it takes care of the elderly, the sick, and the toddlers. When you talk about college managed space outside the campus, it takes care of the parking problem and the pollution problem to an extent. Option B is holistic, talks about almost everything, and hence will be the perfect answer to this question. Got it? So the answer is not important here in the class. What is important is the thought process. How are you thinking so as to come across to the solution which we have just derived, right? The logic, the thinking approach is most important. Fine. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to number 4. Let's go to number 4. Okay. Okay. Girijan, an unemployed youngster from Kumakaran, Tamil Nadu. Okay. Let's read it together. Another previous year XAT question. Visited Singapore where his school friend worked as a software engineer. Fine. So there is a person, unemployed person, who has visited Singapore where his school friend is based, works there, right, as an engineer. In Singapore, Girijan realized that there were a lot of Tamils in Little India area, lot of Tamilians. He soon assessed that there were very few restaurants serving authentic Tamil food and decided to set up a restaurant, Giri's, in Little India, serving authentic Tamil food in traditional banana leaf. So this Girijan sees an opportunity. Opportunity of what? Opportunity of earning some money. So what did he see? He realized that there are a lot of Tamilians in a specific area called Little India, but there were hardly restaurants which serves authentic Tamil food. So he sees a business opportunity and hence decides to set up a restaurant serving authentic Tamil food in traditional banana leaf. Customers loved the food. Very soon, word spread about the good quality food served in the traditional way. Girijan expanded operation, recruiting 10 employees, all Tamils. Okay, so what happened? He opened up a Tamil restaurant. It went really well. People started liking it. And then Girijan even had to expand operation, recruiting more employees, all Tamils. 6 months later, Girijan realized that a lot of Kannadiga and Telugu customers started visiting the restaurant along with their Tamil friends. So now he sees that apart from Tamilians, there are also people from Karnataka and Telugu, right, from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana visiting the restaurant. One day, a Kannadiga customer looking for dosa suggested that it may not be a bad idea for Girijan to serve Karnataka and Andhra cuisines along with Tamil. So remember what happens? It was originally a Tamilian restaurant, and now he sees that along with the Tamil people, right? Guess along with the Tamil guests, there are also people from and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh visiting their restaurant. So one suggestion is, should you expand your restaurant so as to serve, okay, so as to cater to the needs of even the Karnataka and people from Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. With time, the popularity of the restaurant kept soaring. Soaring means increasing. As a result, a lot of Malayalis, Indonesians, and Chinese started visiting the restaurant. Think about it. All good things happening to one person in the world, right? One person in the world. You open up a restaurant, starting Tamilians, and then the restaurant keeps on improving, keeps on becoming more and more popular. So first, along with Tamils, you had Karnataka and people from Andhra Pradesh. Now you have Malayalis, Indonesians, and Chinese visiting the restaurant along with the Tamilians. His software engineer friend advised to cater to customers of all nationalities. Okay, so their one suggestion is you cater to all nationalities. Despite his desire to go grand, Girijan realized he did not have enough money to get extra space anywhere in Singapore, and banks were also reluctant to lend. Okay. One day, while assessing the business, he realized that the restaurant had 90% occupancy rate during peak hours and 40% during the non-peak hours. Both figures were increasing with time. So basically, the bottom line, what is the bottom line? The bottom line is a guy opens a Tamil restaurant in Singapore for Tamil people. The restaurant does very, very well. Over time, it becomes popular with people from Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Chinese, and Malayalis, and whatnot. And then the suggestion is you should expand your restaurant so as to cater to the needs of people from other regions as well. And the last line gives you a data. The restaurant has 90% occupancy rate during peak hours and 40% during non-peak hours. And this is still increasing with time. Now, suggestion, remember, what is the suggestion? I see people coming from different regions to my restaurant. What should I do? Yeah, that's the question, right? Think about it. What should I do? Probably one thing could be I open up a new restaurant, I open up another restaurant, or probably I expand my cuisines to cater to needs from other people as well. Or probably I don't do anything. I don't do anything, but let's look what the author is saying. Which of the following options would be more suitable for the growth of the business? Now, among the 5 options, first try to follow the elimination approach. I think that is the best way. Try to eliminate, okay, which cannot be an answer. Look at option A. Include Andhra and Karnataka cuisines in the menu. Now think about it. You are a manager. As a manager, you give a holistic solution to a problem, right? In the so A, think about A. You know the problem with A is the entire paragraph talked about people from what not regions. They talked about the Malayalis, they talked about the Indonesians, they talked about the Chinese, they talked about Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. So out of 5 different cultures, okay, 5 different sets of customers, why did you select only Karnataka and Andhra? Would be my question. Why? You just can't randomly select Karnataka and Andhra. You should give a specific reason. So, giving a blanket statement saying that out of the 5, you know what? The data had 5, the paragraph had 5, right? Karnataka, Andhra, Malayalis, Indonesians, and Chinese. You decide to have only Karnataka and Andhra. No, that can never be an answer. It's a suboptimal answer. B, same reason. Out of the 5, why 2? Why not all the 5? Or why nothing? It doesn't give you anything. B cannot be an answer. Next, keep the focus on Tamil food only with an increased focus on quality improvement. Okay, we'll check C. D, expand to include either Karnataka and Andhra or Indonesian and Chinese. Again, very easy to eliminate D. Why? D does not take into consideration Malayalis, right? Out of the 5, you suddenly cannot leave out one. Randomly, you can never do that. Remember, you are a manager. You make decisions based on logic and sound reasoning. Out of the 5, you just can't ignore one. D can never be an answer. E, include Karnataka and Andhra as well as Indonesian and Chinese. Again, E also cannot be an answer because you have left out Malayalis. And what would be the reason? Just because the word doesn't sound good to you? Cannot be a reason, right? So obviously, even E cannot be an answer. With elimination approach, this could have been easily answered as option C. This is a previous year XAT question. Why option C? I think there are two hints to it, that you should keep your focus on Tamil food only. Why? Why Tamil food only? Two reasons. First reason is it clearly says the restaurant already has 90% occupancy rate. Can you see? The restaurant already has 90% occupancy rate during peak hours, and this is increasing with time. So if you already have 90% occupancy, that is a very, very good occupancy, right? So it doesn't make sense to expand into a completely new line of business just for 10% occupancy rate during peak hours. That's point number one. Point number two, you know what? All your employees are Tamil employees. All your employees are Tamil employees, right? All your employees that you recruited are Tamil employees. It is quite possible that Tamil employees cook good Tamil food, but probably would they have the exposure, the required expertise to cater to a new market and to cater to a new segment of food probably is unanswered in the paragraph, and hence C is the right answer. Keep your focus on Tamil food and but put emphasis on improving quality. Answer is option C. Answer is option C. Got this? Okay, fine. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. See that if you think logically, right, this could be one section which can just make sure that your score crosses the cutoff. Very, very high scoring area, high scoring section of the XAT. On the contrary, quants, your reasoning and verbal can be really difficult in the XAT, tougher than the CAT, and probably not many of you might be able to score very high. But if you score well in the XAT, 90-95% accuracy, you know what, and you score and your attempts are high, you could very well clear the cutoffs. And I might see you in XLRI Jamshedpur in the next few months. Correct? Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's read number 5. Okay. Recently, a private food testing agency reported the presence of a harmful chemical in crunchy chips, a product of a fast-moving consumer goods giant. Okay. Harmful chemical in some chips, which is a product of a fast-moving consumer goods giant. The report sparked a nationwide outcry. I don't know if you were there, but some years back, probably 5 years back, something similar happened with Maggie, right? So what happened? Someone said that, or probably some results had come which said that there were harmful chemicals in Maggie, which sparked a nationwide outcry. Something similar, you can imagine. Now, what is the question? Rajan Shekhawat, the CEO of the company, feared this incident might affect the company's image among the consumers. Rajan had the following options. So you are the CEO of Maggi, and this thing happens, right? A nationwide outcry that there are harmful chemicals in your product. You, as the CEO, what would you do? You, as the CEO, what would you do? There are 5 options. There are 5 options, correct? And before you read the options, look at the question. Which of the following would be the most appropriate order of options for Rajat starting from the immediate? So basically, out of the 5, you got to select the top 3. Out of the 5, you got to select the top 3 options. Let's read the options. Number 1, apologize publicly for this inconvenience and immediately withdraw the product from all stores. Okay, that's option number 1. Option 2, communicate the correct findings to the public. Okay. Third, hire a reputed independent testing agency to verify the claims of the report. Okay, that's point number 3. Point number 4, establish internal mechanisms to prevent repetition of such incidences in future. Another good point. Point number 5, give higher incentives to distributors and retailers for selling the company brand. I think, and I must tell you, none of your answers in your management entrance examinations can be unethical. Okay. Once you become the CEO of a company, you might do something unethical. That is something very different. Okay. But in the management entrance examinations, okay, none of the answers can be unethical. You can never mark any answer which is unethical. Doesn't matter how much profit it brings to the company, or even if it makes you a billionaire, unethical answers are not allowed. Point 5 clearly and very clearly is unethical. What is unethical? Let's read point number 5 again. Give higher incentives to distributors and retailers and ask them to sell the product. Ask them to sell the product. Very unethical. Why? Remember, a harmful chemical has been detected, has been reported in your product, and you cannot just provide incentives to your distributors to sell the product fast. That would be unethical. Number 5 can never be an answer. Moment you do that, you eliminate number 5. I think you should smile and tell yourself, good, I'm able to eliminate one. That would mean any option which carries number 5 can never be an answer. Any option which carries number 5 can never be an answer. So A is ruled out, C is ruled out, D is ruled out, E is ruled out. Wow, this was super easy. Using elimination, you could have easily said option B is the correct answer. Just by eliminating one, you can easily say option B is your correct answer because all the other options had number 5 in it. And remember, nothing unethical is allowed in your management entrance examinations. Yes? Anyway, just out of curiosity, let's read why it is 3 to 4. Think about it. You are the CEO of a company, okay, and this can come in your XAT. There is a charge against you or a product of your company. What is the first step that you do? What is the first step that you do? First step, I think it's very logical. The first step is not to apologize. The first step is not to withdraw the product from the shelves. That would be a huge loss. But the first step is to verify the claims. Think about it. You might get a similar question as that. If a charge is brought against you or your company, okay, a charge, a report in a charge in a report, what is the first step any manager or any CEO would do is verify the claims. You got to verify the claims, and that obviously got to be your step number 1. You cannot do anything. You cannot apologize. Probably it's not even your mistake. Probably the report is wrong. If you decide to withdraw the product, it could lead to millions and billions of losses, and probably, and I think that is the truth, it might cost you your job as well, right? So what is the first thing you do? You'd verify the claims. And how do you verify the claims? You'd hire a reputed independent testing agency to verify the claims of the report. That got to be the first step and the immediate step. I think that obviously, remember this, always remember such answers. What is the answer? Anything which got to do with verification. Second one, once you have an agency which will do an investigation, whatever results come out, you got to communicate that to the public. Is it necessary to communicate? Absolutely yes. Why? What happens if you don't communicate? If you don't communicate, remember, this could be unethical, this could be unlawful, right? Illegal. This could be illegal, and you might be charged in accordance with the laws of the country. So obviously, if something illegal has happened, untoward incident has happened in the company, you got to communicate the correct findings to the public. Okay? And third is, for all the inconvenience it has caused to the public, remember, the public trusted your product, it brought your product, it spent on your product, you got to apologize publicly for the inconvenience and immediately withdraw the product from all stores. For the short term, you might think this could lead to a loss. Definitely yes. But remember, in the long term, it could help you restore the image of the brand. Remember, image of the brand is something that we all associate ourselves with. Tomorrow, if let's say any product, if you think that the image of the product has gone down, it could lead to massive losses in future, which you as the CEO would not want. So 3 very simple steps. Verify the claims, communicate the findings, and if the findings say that the harmful chemical is indeed present, apologize to the public and withdraw the product. Okay. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this? I think we are making a lot of sense. I think, again, as I repeat, answer is not important. The thought process, the way I'm thinking, right, is something I want you to develop. A structured thought process. If you are able to do that, trust me, that decision making is going to be super easy for you, and you're going to get really high marks in this section. Okay, I think point 5 is done. Question number 5 is done. We can now go to question number 6. Okay. Question number 6. Mukesh Rothrain, a shopkeeper in a remote village, was surprised to read in the newspaper his only source of information about harmful chemicals in crunchy chips. So a village guy, a village shopkeeper rather, reads about the chips, the harmful chemicals in the chips in the newspaper. He has stocked a large quantity of the chips for the forthcoming festive season. So another problem. A shopkeeper has got a huge quantity of the chips, right? He also realized that people in his village are completely unaware of his controversy. So remember, गांव में है, बाकी लोगों को मालूम नहीं है. Others are not aware of this. He is the only smart guy probably who reads the newspaper and he comes across this information that harmful chemicals have been detected in chips. He had the following option. So what would you do? What would he do at this stage? Now, before I read the options, you got to read the question. What is the question? If arranged from ethical to unethical, which of the following is definitely the wrong order? Wrong order. Remember, ethical to unethical. That's how you need to go. And anything which doesn't follow that order, probably unethical is coming first, and then ethical, that would be wrong. That would be wrong, and that would be your answer. So ethical to wrong and unethical is where you need to go. Okay. I think because you need to follow a sequence. What is the sequence? Ethical to unethical, right? That is the sequence you need to follow. It would make sense if you go with the answer options. If you go with the answer options. Let's read the answer option. Number 6. Point number 651. 6. Explore the veracity of the report and take a decision. Super awesome. I think any sensible guy, you don't believe what you suddenly read, okay? These are allegations. You don't believe in them. You verify the report and then you take a decision. This is something ethical. This is something very logical. 6 is correct. Then point 5. Ignore the news and sell the stock at the forthcoming festive season as planned. Wow, as I said. Anything unethical, not allowed. Point number 5 says you ignore the news and sell the stock in the forthcoming festive season as planned. So think about it. Number 6. Let's write it down. Let's write it down. Let's write it down. What do I write it down? Number 6. Point number 6 is, I will just rub this and make your life easy by writing it down. Point number 6 is ethical. Point number 5, next is 5, right? 5 is unethical. What about 1? Sell the entire chip at this stock at a discount before the news spread. Before the news spread. So this is also unethical. Right? So does it follow the correct order? Yes, order is correct. Ethical, probably a bit unethical. Number 5 is definitely unethical, but probably less unethical compared to number 1. What is number 1? You are selling the entire thing at a discount immediately before the news spreads. Very unethical. And number 5, unethical. Unethical. So the order is correct. Ethical to unethical. Next, 614. Again, number 6 is something we have already validated. Ethical. What about number 1? Number 1, sell the entire stock at a discount before the news spread. Unethical. And number 4, inform customers about the controversy but understate its seriousness. Understate its seriousness. This is, I would say, somewhat unethical. Somewhat unethical. You know what? What you are doing? You tell people that COVID Omicron virus is there, but you know what? You tell them, नहीं नहीं कुछ नहीं होगा. Let me go on the Christmas and a New Year vacation because इससे कुछ होता नहीं है. I've already taken the vaccine. You are understating the seriousness, okay? But you are definitely telling your parents about the presence of the virus. Is it ethical or unethical? Probably, I won't say completely unethical, but rather borders between ethical and unethical. So point number 4 is somewhat unethical, okay, or lies between ethics and unethical, ethical and unethical, while 1 is completely unethical. Is it following the order? No. Why? What is the order? Order is most ethical to most unethical, while point number B talks about ethical, unethical, and suddenly goes back to between ethical and unethical. This is a wrong order. This might be my answer. Looks like my answer. But again, I'm not going to mark it till I have read all the options. I'm not going to mark it till I have read all the options. See, 451. 451. Again, what is number 4? Somewhat unethical. We just read it. Somewhat unethical. What is 5? What is 5? I think we have already read it. 5 and 1. We already read it, right? Again, let's read it. Ignore the news and sell the stock in the upcoming festive season and plan. Definitely unethical. And what is 1? Sell the entire thing at a discount before the news spread. Again, unethical. This follows the order. Somewhat unethical, ethical, unethical. The order is correct. The severity, okay, is correct. Somewhat unethical, unethical, unethical. So C is not the answer because question is asking wrong order. Next, 243. 243. Okay, number 2. What is number 2? Destroy the entire stock and advise customers not to buy this product from other shops as well. Super awesome. I think this is what Mahatma Gandhi would have done, right? You destroy the entire stock. You're saying, no, 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 koi yahan se kharidega nahi. No one is going to buy this. I've just read a news report. You are a person who loves the society, who love people around you. And if that's the case, this is what you would do. I think what this is what you do or not do is a different issue. But in the ZAT, this is going to be an ethical answer, right? Ethics, very ethical. 4, we already discussed, somewhat unethical. 4 is somewhat unethical. And what is 3? Donate the entire stock of crunchy chips to a local orphanage. Unethical. Unethical. Obviously, you are donating it to an orphanage is unethical. Does it follow the correct order? Absolutely. What is the order? Ethical, somewhat unethical, unethical. Ethical, somewhat unethical, unethical. Perfect. The order is correct. The order is correct. So even D cannot be an answer. What is E? E is 2, 4, 1. What is 2? 2 is, did we do 2? Ethical. We already did 2. 2 is ethical. What about 4? 4 is somewhat unethical. We already did that. Somewhat unethical. What is 1? Unethical. We have already done this, right? Does it follow the order? Definitely. What does not follow the order is option B. What does not follow the order is option B. I think with some amount of logic, if you put in decision making questions, these are doable. These are doable. And remember, you apply this logic, you apply this, you are able to solve these doable questions by just fetch you a seat in XLRDI Jamshedpur. Another great college which considers your ZAT score will be XAT, Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar. 2 top colleges to look out for if you do well in the ZAT. So definitely practice decision making. And why do I say you got to practice in the next few days? Remember, quants is something you have practiced the entire year. Verbal is something you have practiced the entire year. If 365 days were not sufficient, okay, to make you a master of quants, you have practiced for 1 year, but still you struggle in quants, then definitely practicing for 2 more weeks will not make you a master in quants. Same goes with verbal. You have studied the entire year. Some of you must have been speaking in English since your school days, your KG days, right? Right? 20 years, 25 years, 25 years of your life is spent, right? Studying English, and you have not mastered it. And now, if you study for 2 weeks, you might not be able to master it. Getting the point? This brings me to the point: decision making. You have not studied decision making before. Probably on the 28th of November, when you wrote the CAT, you have never seen decision making before. You have only touched decision making for the last 2 weeks. And in these 2 weeks, you have made a lot of improvement. And now, if you study for 2 more weeks, chances are you might have a 95% to 98% accuracy in this section, which might just push your total overall marks to the maximum possible, and you would end up with a very, very high percentile in the ZATs. Remember, there are other colleges also through which you can apply via your ZAT score. So very important that you do decision making well. At this point, I would love to give some broad tips, okay? Some broad tips to answer decision making questions. Some broad tips, okay? Some broad tips which I would want to give to answer decision making guidelines. So I will say DM guidelines to mark answers. Decision making guidelines, okay? To mark answers. To mark correct answer. Okay, there are some broad guidelines, and you always got to remember to mark correct answer. Okay, first one is nothing unethical. Nothing unethical. Anything which is unethical can never ever be your answer. Anything which is unethical, even if you think it is not completely ethical, okay, will not be an answer. Remember, and I hope someone who's preparing for the ZAT understands the difference between ethical and legal, right? Something might be unethical, but something might be still be legal. We are not considering whether it is legal or illegal, okay? We are considering whether it is ethical or unethical. Anything which is unethical can never be your answer. Number one. Number two, okay, anything generic can never be answer. Anything generic can never be answer. Generic will not be answer. Will not be answer. Will not be answer. What does it mean? Something like call a meeting, okay? Call a meeting, speak to the person, probably these words, right? Or these words, like anything which is very generic, call a meeting. It doesn't give you anything specific. Will never ever be your answer in the ZAT. Never ever. You as a manager got to give specific solutions. Solutions got to be very, very specific and got to define and solve the problem. It cannot be generic. That will not be your answer. Third, anything passing buck will not be an answer. Passing buck, okay, will not be answer. What do I mean by passing buck? If you look at the last year's ZAT papers, will not be the answer. You will see the last year's ZAT papers. One of the options might say you will speak to your manager before you take a decision. Or probably you would want the boards, the company, the board of the company to take a decision. This will not be an answer. In the ZAT, what does the ZAT teach you to become a good manager? How do you behave? Okay. How do you react to different situations? Okay. That is what is the ZAT testing you. So you as a manager cannot say that I don't want to take a decision, but someone else, the company board or my boss will make a decision. Such options can never ever be your answer. Passing the buck will never be the answer. Fourth, fourth, fourth is status quo is also not the answer. Status quo is not the answer. Status quo is not the answer. Something like this problem is too difficult to solve or doesn't impact the company will not be an answer. What could be an answer is you will do a cost benefit analysis, and specifically if the cost exceed the benefits, you might decide to maintain status quo. That could be an answer. But just saying that let it pass, probably this does not affect the company, I don't bother about it, this is too small a problem to deserve my attention, will never ever be your answer. Status quo will also never be the answer in the ZAT. Remember that. Point number 5, and I think very important, let me write it with a different color. Or your solution, okay, should satisfy, okay, all or most stakeholders. I think this is very important. A lot of the times we tend to ignore this. You should never ignore this. Whatever solution you give, okay, let's say you are the chief minister of a state and there is a village wherein you propose to develop a plant. The villagers are opposing it. Okay, villagers are opposing it. Why? Because they say it will make the land infertile, less fertile. Probably it will create pollution. You, as the chief minister in the ZAT class, I'm talking about the ZAT decision making exam, who's going to come up with a solution which will satisfy everyone, which will satisfy the industries, which will satisfy the villagers. You can never ever give a solution which will satisfy only a specific set of stakeholders. You can never say set up the industry because industry is needed for development. That will not be the answer in the ZAT. You as a manager got to be a team player. So team player is something that the ZAT would look out for. And when you give your answer, you got to give the answer in such a way that majority of the stakeholders, or if not all, I would ideally say all, but if not all, majority of your stakeholders are satisfied. So before you mark the answer, ask yourself, was there any other set of stakeholders in the paragraph which I missed out? As an example, there is too much of pollution, okay, in the school because of the vehicles. Can you impose high fees only on the students? No, that would be incorrect. Why? Because that would mean there are teachers, there are students, there are even the principal, the administrators, workers. So many are using vehicles inside the campus. But can you just charge the students with a higher fee to reduce pollution? No, you can't do that. So whenever you talk about a solution, it got to satisfy everyone, and if not everyone, most stakeholders. Number 6. Number 6 is something I see that students ignore. You knowingly or unknowingly ignore this. Whatever has already been tried will not be the answer. Whatever has already been tried, whatever has already been tried, okay, in the passage will not be the answer. Will not be the answer. What do I mean by that? Will not be the answer. What do I mean by that? Let's pause for a moment and think about it. Let's give a scenario. You know what? There was a previous year's that question which talks about a guy, okay? He's about to get fired. Why is he about to get fired? Because the company thinks that it's not performing well. So they're about to fire him. There's a previous year's that question. Now, this guy thinks he has performed well. He has performed well. So he decides to go and speak to the manager. So he decides to go and speak to the manager, but the manager doesn't even listen to him. Doesn't even listen to him. It's mentioned in the paragraph. So again, I repeat, what is the passage in the XAT? What was the passage in the XAT? The passage was, there was a guy who is about to be fired from a company because his performance is not up to the mark. The guy thinks he has done well. So he tries to speak to the manager, but the manager doesn't listen to him. Doesn't listen to him. Now, question, there will be a XAT question which will say, what should the guy do? One of the options was the guy should again try speaking to the manager and make him understand everything that he had done since he joined the company. One of the options. When you listen to the option, when you read the option, think about it. It sounds nice. It is the thing that you should probably be doing had you been in that scenario. But that would not be an answer. Why? Because the passage clearly told you the manager does not listen to the guy. This is something which was already tried out, and the passage says it did not work. So again, the solution, you're not going to give the same answer. You're not going to say, he's going to go back and talk to the manager again. Will not be an answer. Will not be an answer. You are going to give a solution which has not been tried before. Very, very, very important. So do not give again the same reason which has been tried. If it has been tried once, you're not going to repeat that the second time in the solution. Very, very, very important. What was the correct answer for this passage? The correct answer is the guy should give interviews and look out for other opportunities. Look out for other opportunities. You might think, why is that the answer? Because the passage clearly told you he wants to speak to the manager. Manager doesn't listen to him. So what will he do? Right? So you got to connect yourself. You got to connect your answer to the information given in the passage. I think that is very, very, very important here. Very, very, very important. Yes, I think these are some generic guidelines. I would suggest decision making is one good area to start your XAT exam. I think you might want to start from decision making. Why? Especially if you're not good in verbal or quants. Why? Because if you're not good in verbal and quants, and if you're not able to do much of it in the XAT, remember the XAT questions are difficult, cutoffs are low. Many a time students often get frustrated that you are not able to solve too many questions, and then you come to the decision making, you're already demotivated, you might not end up doing very well. Hence it is essential, okay, that you probably, if you especially think that you are prepared decision making well, you might want to start with the decision making section, so that when you come to this section you start, you are fresh, and b, you are high on confidence. And then when you're able to answer most of the questions, even if you get the answers wrong, the good part is you don't know you are wrong. You don't know you are wrong, right? Unlike quants where you will know you have not got the answer and you'll be demotivated, decision making will not lead to a demotivation, because for sure you will not know that your answer is wrong or correct, right? So you might want to start with decision making, and this is a good area to start with. Any questions that you have at this stage? Any questions that you have at this stage and wish to ask, or or want me to answer? Want me to answer? Anything that you have, anything that you have in mind that you want me to answer? Anything before we break? कुछ और है पूछना, कुछ बोलना है किसी को कुछ बोलना है, पूछना है? I'm looking at the live comments on YouTube. It's your turn to ask me questions. It's your turn to ask me questions. If you have anything in mind, you believe you have something, some doubt, some query, this is the time to answer. Ask, sorry. One more thing I must tell you. One more thing I must tell you. Before you actually go and write your XAT, right? Before you actually go and write your XAT, one thing I must tell you is, before you go and write the XAT, right? Do look at XAT cutoffs. Do look at previous year, okay? Previous year XAT cutoffs. Previous year XAT sectional cutoff, XAT sectional cutoff, including the last year paper, including the last XAT sectional cutoffs. Now, why do I say so? Why do I say so? I think this is very important to understand because unlike all other exams, right, where the number of attempts are very high, XAT is not about that. The XAT paper is generally difficult or moderate. It is never easy. It is never easy. Because of which you need to know from before that the cutoffs are low. Cutoffs are low. Are low. And when I say cutoffs are low, what does it mean? It also means attempts. Number of attempts are low. Attempts are low. So when your attempts are low, the good thing is you would focus on accuracy. Accuracy, right? And not on speed. Not on speed. The snap, it's all about speed and accuracy. You got to focus on speed as well. And math, you got to focus on speed and accuracy. That probably speed is not very important. What is important is whether you could identify those few questions correct and mark the correct answer. So the accuracy plays a role here more than the speed. And many a times, if you are reading XAT quants questions, okay, quants questions, previous year XAT quants questions, ideally, the general length of a XAT quants questions will be half a, it will be, let's say 5, 6 lines, 6, 7 lines, 5, 6, 7 lines. Okay. The problem is not everything is useful. There is a lot of unused data in quants, especially in XAT, unused data. So in the XAT, if there is a 6-line passage, 6 line, 7-line quant sum, answer might be just 2 lines. Answer might be just 2 lines. And it might not even use 90% of the data in the questions. That is perfectly fine. That is what the XAT paper said as one, that the manager or a budding manager or an aspiring manager be able to distinguish, okay, what he needs from probably hundreds and thousands of data elements. So very important that if you are not using all the data, doesn't mean you are wrong. It only means the XAT paper setter gave a lot of extra data and you have not used all of them. So this is also something which you got to keep in mind. How much time should you take for a decision making question depends on whether how many questions are there. Let's say sometime there are 3 questions. Let's say there are 3 questions, okay, in the set. Decision making 3 questions in the set. So I would say read the set carefully. Read the set carefully because if you understand the set carefully, okay, there are high chances you will get 3 of them correct. Sometimes when you read the set, you know what? You attempt 2 questions, you think you have got the correct answer. The third one may not be attempted, especially if it is tricky. There is no rule here that if you have read the set, you got to answer all 3 questions. Nothing like that. You might have read the set, you felt 2 questions were easy, you did that. Third one, you are not sure. Perfectly fine. You go to the next set rather than going wrong there. Rather than going wrong there. So again, something to be kept in mind. Something to be kept in mind. I think I have talked about a lot of things today. Decision making, I showed some brilliant approaches how to answer. Some generic rule also I gave what to do and what are the things that you need to keep in mind before you attempt the decision making section of the XAT. Right? Okay. A few quick announcements at this stage. The Plus subscription is available for those of you who are interested. If you decide to join Unacademy Plus, right, the prices for the different plans are on your screen. But the best part is these prices, you can get discounts and maximum discounts using the code Parikshit Live. So if you use the code Parikshit Live, use this code anytime you want discounts. And B, the other benefit is you will get free mentorship from my site if you join Unacademy using my code Parikshit Live. And that is available. The free mentorship is available only and only on my code if you need mentorship from my site. And the free code is Parikshit Live. So for discounts and for free mentorship, remember the golden code is Parikshit Live. Second is the iconic subscription. This is also available. And the good part, you need discounts anytime. For some of you who feels that discount is something that you always look for, remember that code, that magic code which is there on your screen. Parikshit Live for all discounts. And again, free mentorship. Free mentorship is something that you will not get in all the codes. But for my code Parikshit Live, you will get free mentorship from my side. And if you go for the iconic subscription, you'll get every benefit of plus one-to-one live doubt clearing sessions, concept discussion sessions, mentorship by top B school graduates, and on top of it, you'll be able to book slots at your convenience. Whatever time slot is convenient for you, you can book it according to that. And then the iconic subscription has been taken to a new level. A lot of benefits are available. So yeah, for those of you who want to join iconic, this is the best time. And there are also exciting offers running. And then there are comprehensive evaluation for the XAT. Free. These are all free. Do attempt. Do try to apply what we have learned today. Do try to apply what we have learned today, because that would help you to know whether you have really understood what we discussed today in the decision making section, right? Decision making, I told you a lot of tricks. Next 10 days or 9 days or 1 week, whatever is left, give your best. Do as many decision making questions as possible, so that at the end of the day, when you go on the 2nd of January to answer the XAT paper, you're fully confident about this section where you can have a near 95-98% accuracy. And then the 25th December, on the Christmas day, there is a XAT Combat XAT Decision Making Special. Do register, absolutely free. You can use my code Parikshit Live and get this sessions absolutely free. And anytime you have doubts, make use of the Ask a Doubt feature on Unacademy. So I think people are asking some questions. Where are we given 5 statements and the question select the statements from the most to the least appropriate, but only 4 options given in either options. It's fine, right? So out of the 4 options, you need to decide if the order is correct. If the order is correct, it's not about all the 5 options. It's about among the options, do you have the correct order? Order from the most preferred to the least preferred, to the least preferred. Next is, should we first deselect the out of the bound option and then go for options, or the out of bound option can mean the option is the least appropriate? No, out of bound can be there as the least appropriate. So if they are saying from most appropriate to least appropriate, the least appropriate can be the last option. So it might be there. It will be the least appropriate option. The sequence is important. The sequence. Okay. And anytime you have doubts, make use of the Ask a Doubt feature on Unacademy. That is it for today. It was a long session and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to see you in my next session. Till then, goodbye and stay safe.